Now for some real talk. Secretary of State John Kerry in Turkey today seeking further support for a coalition to fight ISIS. And the visit comes a day after the U.S. signed up 10 Arab allies, a major step in building regional support for the president's plan to strike ISIS militants in Iraq and Syria. Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host and Fox News contributor, and she's here in studio today. Yay. Lisa Booth is a senior director of BlackRock Group, also here in studio. Great to have the both of you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so Leslie, we have these Arab countries who actually, one of them, the UAE, came out even before President Obama did and had somewhat of a strategy to take on ISIS. Now they're all coming together. Is this going to be easy for the president to get the rest of the European nations and then all of them together to fight ISIS?
I think yes. And I think, quite frankly, it puts Congress in a very precarious position because both Democrats and Republicans have been saying, I want to see who these allies are. We need the Arab world to sign on. Well, they have. And I think right now what it becomes is it's not President Obama or the United States against ISIS. It's the world against terrorism. It's the world against murderers. It's the world against this organization. Because although they've been local and regional, you have so many outsiders joining this group, and they have huge global aspirations. This is dangerous. This is not the same as Somalia. This is not the same as Yemen. It's very, very different.
And yet, Lisa, there was some hesitation yesterday during our show. We were reporting that even Great Britain might not be on board to have airstrikes in Syria, Germany, and some people were postulating that maybe it was because the president led from behind in the beginning, and everyone looks to the U.S. to be the huge leader out in front.
Right, and we should be that leader out front, but unfortunately we haven't been. And I think what we've seen is President Obama has led with campaign promises instead of what's in our national security best interest. And I think that's what we're seeing because the Arab nations that have signed on, they have done so tepidly. And the reason being is because President Obama has not shown the commitment and resolve that is needed to defeat ISIS. I mean, if you look at Operation Desert Storm, George H.W. Bush was able to build one of the largest coalitions since World War II, and those ground forces were able to defeat Iraqi forces in Kuwait within 100 hours.
But people are war-weary now. I mean, times have changed since he put that coalition together. Do you agree with that, Leslie?
I agree that Americans are war-weary, and I wouldn't agree with everything you said. I might touch upon that. But when you look at the polls and you just see the fear, you see the fear of the American people of ISIS, not just those global aspirations, but how many Americans could be with ISIS, how many members of ISIS could be here. Americans, no question, want us to take military action. Americans, no question, support the strikes. And if you look at question by question, technically, the Americans are supporting what the president has put forth. Even General Petraeus said it's a good first step.
Yeah, but you could argue, Lisa, that the president then reacted to what Americans were thinking, because the last poll was that 94% of Americans knew about ISIS. I can't think of any poll in recent time where Americans knew about 94% of anything. Half can't even name who the vice president is.
Exactly. And I think you do go back, you had mentioned, our Americans were weary. And I think to a certain degree, but I think now that we're seeing this huge threat that ISIS poses, not just to America, but the rest of the world, I think Americans are sort of changing that perception. And if we want to talk about polls, the majority of Americans don't trust President Obama. They don't trust his leadership, and they don't trust his leadership on national security. And so I think that poses a real threat to President Obama, and it's sort of, I think it just highlights just how poorly President Obama has done on this issue.
The polls that you're speaking of, we haven't seen those types of trust polls since we've lost 2 Americans to ISIS beheaded.
And we
also,
saw them yesterday.
Well, no,
record lows as far as approval on Syria,
Iraq.
So
look at why we're facing this in the first place. President Obama undermined his military advisors and failed. He didn't have the political fortitude to keep a residual force in Iraq.
Hopefully now everyone will move forward. A coalition can be formed because nobody wants ISIS here on the home front. Leslie and Lisa, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.